What's going on, boys? Here we are. It's finally time. Episode 4 of the CRF450RL Supermoto build. Sorry for the long delay. I know it's been almost a month, but some of the parts I ordered were taking extremely long to come in, and we needed them to get the bike completed. First, a quick recap if you guys are new here. In episode 1, we took my already built Supermoto, stripped it down to a bare frame, and sent a handful of parts off to be powder coated. In episode 2, while we waited for those parts to get powder coated, we prepped a bunch of other parts, degreased the motor, polished the exhaust, and got everything ready for when I got those parts back. In episode 3, we got all the parts back from powder coating, we threw the motor back in the frame, we got the wiring harness on, we got the subframe on, and all the suspension. So here we are, episode 4. Let's go ahead and get started. So first up, I want to go ahead and get the bars back on the bike, as well as deal with all the wiring on the front of the bike, like getting the light bar wired up and the ignition and everything. I also went ahead and threw a fresh set of ODI lock-on grips in black on the bars while I was at it. Also, for you boys that want to do the CRF450R front number plate conversion on the bike, this is kind of how you got to organize the wires. I know it looks a little crazy, there's a lot of zip ties and everything, but you have to try to tuck all those wires into a super neat bundle so they fit behind that number plate. I also started receiving a bunch of new plastics for the bike, so I want to go ahead and start tossing some of those on, so we went ahead and tossed on these fresh fork guards from UFO Plastics, as well as some red plastic hardware from Zeta. If you guys follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you might have seen me teasing this front end. This is a new CMT carbon fiber front fender, so super hyped to get this onto the bike and see how it looked all wrapped up. I've been super eager to get this bike started, so I want to get the exhaust on the bike next. So we went ahead and tossed on my Yoshimura RS4 pipe, and this pipe also has a CMT carbon cover as well. Pipe turned out super sick, and if you're wondering, this is a Yoshimura RS4, but I put the RS12 decals on it to try to give it a little more of a modern look. Next, I want to go ahead and try to finish up the bars, so I started tossing on my levers. I tossed on my clutch lever and my Brembo RSC14 master cylinder. I also got a new master cylinder reservoir from the Six Shop. My old one had a kind of DIY bracket and it was a little jank, so I bought this nice bar mounted kit to give it a super nice finish. We also ran a fresh clutch cable from All Balls Racing. As well as tossed on a fresh black number plate to finish up the front end. Front end's looking crazy with all that carbon and everything blacked out. I'm loving the way this thing's turning out. Next up, to get this thing started, I knew it was finally time to go ahead and toss the gas tank on the bike. This is a CRF450R gas tank off a 2019 model. And on the CRF450L, you have to make a bracket on the front. My old bracket was a little jank, so I had my buddy 3D print me a super nice bracket for the front. After I had the tank mounted, it was finally time to go ahead and toss in the battery. I also went ahead and added some coolant to the radiators, and it's finally time to try to crank this thing up. After cranking it for a little bit, I finally got her started, and I started to bleed the radiators. Super hyped, I finally got this thing started. That's a big milestone in the build. Now it's pretty much finishing up all the small details, so I want to go ahead and jump down to the swing arm and get the CMT carbon fiber covers on, as well as the chain slider and everything else, so I can go ahead and get the back wheel on here soon. We got the rear swing arm pretty much all finished up. Next up was the rear wheel. I had to wait a few days, but my full Moto Master front and rear brake kit finally came. So we went ahead and we're going to toss the Moto Master flame rotor on the rear wheel so we can get that thing all mounted up. I don't know who put this rear rotor on last time. Good chance it was probably me. But they either put too much Loctite or torqued it too much, because I kept blowing out all my Torx heads bits trying to get this thing off. There we go, we finally got the new rotor on, and man, these MotoMaster flame rotors just look amazing, man. It's finally time to go ahead and toss the rear foot brake and handbrake caliper bracket on so I can go ahead and get the rear wheel mounted. Now that I got the rear wheel and the calipers on, I'm going to go ahead and assemble my full foot brake setup, the master cylinder and the lever, as well as run my brake lines. Before I can lock my rear wheel down, I gotta run my new chain. This is a DID EVRT chain. If you guys aren't aware, this is pretty much the best and only chain that you guys should be running on your CRF450Ls. Because if you guys weren't aware, the front sprocket chain clearance between your front sprocket and your case is extremely tight. So if you run a lot of aftermarket O-ring chains, you will eventually start rubbing a hole through your case. And trust me, I know from experience. Cut a few links off and got her measured to spec. Now the chain's good to go. I went ahead and locked my rear axle nut down and tossed on some sliders from BAC 3D. Next up, it's time to get the front wheel on the bike. So we went ahead and we tossed the full MotoMaster brake kit on the front. As well as tossed on that super sick 320 millimeter flame rotor, man. This thing looks crazy on the front wheel. Got the front caliper all Loctited and torqued down the front axle nut. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss on a BAC axle slider to match the rear. If you guys made it this far in the video, thank you guys. This is going to be the end of episode 4. And a huge shout out to all you guys that have watched all the other videos in the series. I really appreciate it. And also a huge shout out to my sponsors that help make this build possible, CRFsonly.com and BAC3D for providing the axle sliders. As well as I do have all the rest of the parts for this build. So episode 5 should be coming out in a week or so. Episode 5, we're going to be tossing on the plastics, the graphics, the seat glow kit, and bleeding the brakes. And then she's going to be ready to go, guys. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe for episode 5 because we're going to finish the build and we're going to be doing the full reveal. And as always, guys, if you guys have any questions about any of the parts or anything I've done to this build or Supermotos or the CRF450L, feel free to DM me on Instagram or leave a comment down below. Thanks.